podcast. I'm your host, Kungu Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Saturday for another amazing episode. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about society now, like the society right now as we're living it, right? This is sort of like just coming from that conversation that I had with my grandma. I recorded it back in December, but then I was like, let me put it out at the end of January so that, like it's almost a month since I recorded it. And I was like, just keeping it. I was wondering when I was going to put it out. But then I said, okay, let me just put it out like on the 31st of January to finish the month, which aligned perfectly because Saturday on the 31st, so that aligned very, very perfectly. And I put it out then. And by the time I'm recording this, that show has not gone up yet. So I don't know if you agree with what she said, if you do not, if you like the episode, if you do not, I do not know. But I cannot wait until you guys listen in order to continue recording and editing. So I'm recording this on the 27th and the show is going to go out on the 31st. So you can imagine. It's not yet out, but because by the time you'll be listening to this, you'll have already listened to that, then it makes sense. So my grandmother said a couple of things during their time, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to talk about all of that again, but it got me thinking. Like when I was listening to it while I was editing it, it made me remember a couple of things. I've said this before in this podcast, like how we grew up, we were being raised by these strong women, my grandmother included. And like if I did something wrong, just the same way my grandmother said, like if we did something wrong, somebody else's mom could punish you. But right now, you cannot do that. The society right now does not allow you to punish someone's child. Like sometimes I'm downstairs and I'm walking around and you see a kid doing something stupid and you're like, I wish I could just pinch that child, like, or just, I don't know, admonish them in a way. Like it doesn't have to be something harsh or anything, but then you look at them and you're like, you'll raise your voice at this kid and they're going to go and report to their parents and you're going to hear a mouthful of nonsense. Because when people are protecting their children, even if their children have done the wrong thing, they forget that you're also a grown-up, that they can come and tell you, like, you know what, you did this and this, and I know my kid was doing that, but you shouldn't have spoken to them the way you did, or something similar. They'll come and talk to you as if you are a kid yourself, and they can make you feel like the worst human being ever. Like sometimes, people can just be crazy. But sometimes I see kids doing nonsense, and I'm just like, if it was during my time, I'm also going to say during my time, during our time, like I'm also going to say that because I'm like, I couldn't have done half of the things that kids are doing now because I would have been beaten up by whoever I was doing it in front of. Like that thing my grandmother said about, like parting ways so that an adult can pass. I'm walking downstairs because sometimes I forget that where I live is like, I don't know how to call it in English, but it's just sort of a community. And the roads downstairs, they are, the roads outside and the way they are, that is the playground for these kids as well, because there's no dedicated place for these children to play unless they go to school. So in their schools, they have the field, but at home, they do not have a place to play, so they have to go down on the roads, like that, and passing through the estate. That's where they play. So you could be walking, going to the shop or something, and these kids are playing football. They will not stop. Some of them will not stop. Some will. Some will not. And I look at them and I'm like, you. Sometimes I just feel like getting that ball and throwing it I don't know where, because they can even hit you with the ball, and maybe one or two who have been taught good manners will say sorry, but some of them will just look at you as if you are the one who was on their way. And sometimes it's not even a ball, like it could be a stone they are, passing through, like passing to each other, and it hits you and they do not care. And that leaves me wondering, like, what the actual hell? Because, as a kid, if I did that, I would have been beaten up so badly. And then my grandmother would have been told, which would have just added more beatings. So, the kids, I know my grandmother said that watoto wa siku hizi hatuna adabu, lakini sisi tuko nayo. Wenye hao wadogo wetu hao ndo hawana, because it feels like this gentle parenting thing that some parents are doing is not helping. Like, kids are just bad. The other day I saw some kids fighting with each other, and that one I had to speak up because one of them was a little bit smaller than the other one, and I just had to talk. Like, I was like, stop doing that. And then that smaller one was like, no, you. I was like, okay. I hope they stopped, because they stopped at that moment. So after I walked on, I don't know if they went back to fighting or if they did not. Like, it was just crazy. Another one I saw, he was stacking up like bricks. There was this place that was being built, and this kid, that small baby, he was taking these bricks and stacking them up. And I was like, I want to tell him to stop, but what if the parent is looking? Because these kids, you never know if they're alone or if an adult is with them and is just watching them do whatever. So I'm like, do I say something? Do I leave him to learn the lesson that he needs to learn from this? Or what do I do? Luckily, the person that I buy vegetables from, he knows a lot of these kids because he's always downstairs. He always sees them. He knows who their parents are. And so I told him, like, hey, can you tell him to stop, because he might hurt himself. And he was also like, let's just leave him alone for a while and see what he's going to do about it. So I left downstairs before it happened, or whatever happened. I don't know. I hope it did get hurt. But like, sometimes with this society that we're living in right now, it's so tough to know when to correct on well or when not to. It's so tough to like figure out, should I help or should I not help? Like, it's just complicated, and it's because people have just put themselves in a situation where they're always like, they know everything and you know nothing, and you are not allowed to correct me, because who are you correcting me as? And I get it. I'm the same way sometimes. But like, if it's something I'm doing and it's silly or it's stupid, I would like for somebody to tell me, like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Let me behave however I'll behave after you've told me. And then if I crash and burn, you can be like, yeah, but you are warned. That's better than just sitting and watching me get into trouble. And then when things go bad, you come back and be like, and we just saw you doing it. We didn't know what to do, which is what I did with the kid, but you know what I mean. And then another time again, I was downstairs. So I was in the house planning to go downstairs to get some food. And I had this woman screaming. She was walking around screaming. I couldn't hear exactly what she was saying. So I leave the house and go and check through the balcony, like downstairs. I check, and there's this woman. She's in purple trousers. I think they were these jeans that are very light. I don't know, they have a name, but I don't know about fashion. I don't care for it. But she's in purple jeans and a white bra, and that's all she's dressed in. And this is not like a 1GB kind of woman, like she's as big as me and she's dressed like that. I don't know what had happened to her, but she kept saying something about Jesus doing something. I don't know. Like, it was something you would hear in church. I've forgotten the exact phrase that she was using. And I meant to ask my vegetable guy, like, what had happened to her after, but I didn't get the chance to before I recorded this. But she kept walking, going to one side, coming back, going to one side, coming back, repeating the same thing, the same thing. And if somebody stopped her and told her to put on a shirt or something, she would start insulting them and telling them that phrase that she was saying. I think it was about Jesus, I don't remember what it was, like Jesus something. But she would tell them that, like, pray and repent or something, Jesus is coming or something like that. She kept repeating the same thing over and over again, walking around. And I was like, is she getting crazy? Is she like, did somebody put something in her drink? Because these estates, people sell illicit brews sometimes. So it could have been that she drank something that did not agree with her mental, or she sniffed something that she did not agree with her mental, and so she was just losing it, doing that thing, walking around, talking like that. So I saw her, and then she went in between some buildings that are like, from our balcony, you can see those buildings at the front, like on the other side. So I couldn't hear her for a while. I go downstairs, I go and buy food. While I'm coming back towards our home, I see her. And now she's gotten to the road. There's this place where we have a cabro road, and she was there and she was talking the same, saying the same thing. And then this woman who was drunk passes by and insults her, like tells her, yeah, stop talking like that, you're making noise for people, go and put on clothes. She's saying all this in Swahili, and I love Swahili, but the I don't know how to say this, like Swahili can be very mean and demeaning sometimes. Like if you are trying to talk to somebody, if you are to correct somebody in English and you use those same terms in Swahili, some of them are very, very harsh. And so she was talking down on this woman, and this woman started insulting her as well, telling her to repent, I don't know, and repeating that phrase that she was just saying. Maybe I'll ask that, okay, I'll ask someone, and maybe next Wednesday or Saturday, I'll tell you what she was saying, because she kept repeating it, repeating and repeating it. Anyway, that was her. My societal issue, apart from her walking around in a bra, because clearly she had an issue, her mental state was not okay. But there were kids standing on the road watching her, and they were laughing and they were pointing. And I was like, where are these kids' parents? I know some of them are at work, but most of the women in this area are housewives. And it was before, it was Christmas season. So most parents were at home. These kids were standing there looking, pointing, laughing, and I just wanted to scream at them like, can you leave? Can you go? What are you looking at? And this woman didn't care because somebody was saying, like, why are you doing this in front of children? But clearly she was not okay. But these kids were there standing, looking at her, and other adults were just looking, me being one of them. But the thing is, I do not have a child of my own. I cannot start yelling at other people's children to do stuff, because those parents of theirs have never seen me with any kid. They do not know me. And me yelling at their children to leave or whatever would have just caused chaos. That's the kind of society we're living in right now. That I could not even just tell these kids to leave. I kept wanting to, and I just couldn't. So, luckily, as I said, my vegetable guy, he's very, very good. And he's the one who chased them away. He took a kiboko and told them to go away. He kicked them out of that area where that woman, because she was now moving along the Cabra Road, like just a short distance from one point to another, and talking and yelling. And these other drunkards were just yelling at her as well. And some men would just stare. Like it was, you know how weird it is that you as a man, you're standing there ogling at this woman because she's in her bra, and your child is standing next to you or opposite to where you're standing, also ogling at the same woman. You both are doing that for maybe the same reasons, curiosity, like wanting to know what is happening, but it also be that you're a pervert and your child is just curious and wondering, like, what is this woman doing this? It was such a weird situation. And as I said, they were kicked out, they were chased away, and they ran away. And I was like, why did it take so long for somebody to do this? Some of these children were there, their parents are there with them, and they are all watching as this woman is clearly going through a mental breakdown. Like, what kind of society is that? Like, we keep saying madili, our society, our culture, our customs, but then we fail ourselves in such small matters. We want to talk about the LGBTQ plus community and say how they are not part of our culture, blah, 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 which is all nonsensical. But then when something like this, something that a child should not be looking at an adult dressed in almost nothing and just standing there and ogling, we do nothing about that. We do nothing about that. We also stand there with them and watch her as she's going through her mental breakdown, and we don't chase the kids away. Because I felt uncomfortable for her. I felt uncomfortable for myself. Not that because of how she was dressed. I didn't care clearly. But for the children, they made me uncomfortable. They were standing there watching. Because, this person, is going through something, so they cannot control what they're doing or what they're saying. But these children, I've, I don't know, maybe I was too judgmental, but I felt like they should have known better or something like that. And the other adults who were there, they should have also known better. I wish I could have done something, but as I said, the society now does not allow me to talk to other people's children to tell them anything. But because my veggie guy, he can do that, he did. And I was very appreciative of that. Because they ran away laughing, but then they would go far off and stand and stare back. And this woman continued talking the same thing. And she started insulting some women that she was seeing there. People were trying to judge and say what happened to her, like trying to figure out what happened, speculating and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to stand here. I'm going to leave. I have social anxiety. Like, I'm okay with walking, knowing that there are other people walking around me, but they're far, they're in front of me. I don't like somebody walking behind me, especially if they're really close. Even if they're just minding their own business, it makes me really, really uncomfortable. And if I go somewhere and there's a lot of people, like there's a huge crowd, I do not like it either. I was more anxious about the kids, the way there were so many of them. I think actually that's, apart from them looking at this woman, I was also very anxious about them being there, the kids, because there were so many of them. And it just gave me anxiety. I don't know. Our society right now just allows a lot of chaos to happen, and it demands from us to just look the other way and ignore and assume that what we have seen is not happening, what we know is not correct, or something like that. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, you could walk half naked out there. People will just stand and look at you and start judging you and start talking. Nobody will say anything. You could stain your dress, like with your period or something, and people will just not correct you. Like, people will just not come and tell you, like, hey, miss, you have a stain on your dress. Like, it's very rare that you'll find somebody who'll just come and tap you and be like, hey, sorry, but I think you've messed your dress. Which is kindness, by the way. It's very, very kind to tell somebody that, because you don't tell them, they continue walking right like that, and other people continue noticing. Imagine when she gets home and she realizes that happened, the kind of embarrassment that will hit her. But if just one person came and was like, hey, excuse me, you have messed your dress, do you have something to cover up? How, like, I mean, I don't know. Our society has changed so much. I mean, you'll fall down and people will just walk by you. It's rare that you'll find somebody rushing to try and help you get up. Others will be laughing at the side, and most of them will just be looking at you, and you will hear somebody else judging you for walking without looking where you're going. That's why you fell, which is just crazy to me. Somebody gets hit by a car, and then, or they get into an accident. The first people on the scene, they will try and get these people out of the car and stuff like that, but they'll also be trying to steal from them. If there's a phone that is just there and it's still in good condition, that phone is gone. If they find a wallet and it has money, that money is gone. And I'm like, what? Did you come to the scene to steal? Is that why you showed up? Because why do people behave as if they can never be in such a situation? And wouldn't you want the person who helped you to also just leave you with their phone? Because what if you make it and you get to the hospital? You're supposed to call your family and stuff to tell them what happened and everything. But then you get there, you wake up, you're in the hospital, and you'd have none of your personal effects. Not because they were left at the crash site where the accident happened. No, it's because somebody who came to pretend to help you came and took your phone and went with it and went and sold it somewhere. Or they will just not help you. And they understand that one or not helping. Good Samaritans in Kenya are usually end up getting into trouble with the police because you find somebody has been either beaten up or they had a crash or something like that. You stop, you get them to hospital, and you explain what happened to the doctors or whatever, and then the police are called. You will be treated as the first suspect. In Kenya, sometimes it's never like you're innocent until you're proven guilty. It's like, no, you're guilty until you're proven innocent, without a doubt. Like, and because of that, most people just don't do anything to help you. And that's the society we're living in right now. That people would rather watch you bleed to death than try and help you, because should you die or something like that, the first person to be blamed is this person who came to help you. But then you imagine that if you're in such a situation, wouldn't you want the first person who walks by to see you bleeding out and maybe rush you to the hospital, which could save you? I know there are people who are still good Samaritans, there are people who still help, but they have to be ready to be put through the ringer. Like, they have to be taken to court. They have to be taken to the police station, and they have to risk like getting even to court, because if they have no proof that they're not the ones who caused the accident or hit that person, until that person survives. If that person survives and they open their eyes and they're like, oh, no, 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 it was thugs. It was not this guy. I think it's the guy who saved me. You might end up in prison because you saved someone. And that's the Kenyan society right now, which is very, very sad. So it makes people not want to help anybody, not want to give assistance to anybody. And I just find that to be so, so sad. Like neighbors nowadays. I used to have a neighbor that I was close to, then he moved. The neighbors that I have right now, they're not bad people. I can't say that they're good because I do not know them that way. When I moved here, every neighbor that was coming, okay, not everyone, because some of them were just, but I knew these people I could talk to. I wasn't going to be asking them for sugar or salt or anything, but I knew that if I had to, I could. But right now, I can't do anything with any of them. Even just saying hi. There's one I used to say hi to. Then I felt at some point, because I can decide to be like, hi, 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 hi. And then after some time, I let it go to see if you're going to be the one to say hi this time. And if you keep quiet, I just keep quiet. And that's sort of what happened between her and me. I used to say hi and then I stopped. And so she never says hi unless I do. Because I was trying to establish a friendship, just to have one person on the same floor that you can talk to. But I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. There's only one guy who usually says hi whenever he sees me. And I appreciate that. But the other problem is that I do not even know their faces. Like, if I met them downstairs, I wouldn't know that they're on the same floor with me. Like, if I see them here on the same floor, if I'm outside going to the balcony or something, I'll be like, oh, hi. But then if I met them downstairs, I wouldn't say hi because I do not remember that they're from the same place as me. So, yeah. The society we live in right now is so effed up, I'm telling you. It's so crazy. But yeah, it's as if things are just going to get worse as time goes by. Neighbors are not talking. You cannot discipline other people's children. You cannot. Teachers are not even allowed to discipline children, by the way. And you cannot save somebody's life when you find them hurt on the side of the road. You are not allowed to, just do basic, decent things. Like, it's basic decency, just to help. But the society we live in right now can't allow that, because people are too, like, it's just me and me and me and my child, me and my husband, me and my wife, me. There's no we. The Ubuntu in us, like, you see it in big things. Like, if somebody, like, there's a lady who had a restaurant in Nakuru and she had been losing money. She spent millions to start this place, but then she just wasn't getting enough clients. And so she went online and she was crying and she was talking about it. And Kenyans being Kenyans, they came through for her. and they went and bought bales of flour and they bought liters of, oil, and they sat at the restaurant and they ate. And I was like, hope this is going to continue. Let them not do it once and then never go back there again, because she'll be right back on the same, like in the same boat she was in. It's just that the difference will be she'll still have the flour and the oil. But I saw her crying and I cried too. But Kenyans came through for her. But this, you see, it has to be in such a big way in order for people to come and help. Like, it has to be online, it has to be plastered everywhere. But then in these small, small issues, like where people live in the estates and stuff, it's not always like that. It's not that easy to just find people who are going to help you out, you know, because you cried, because you said this. Some people will look at you and even judge you instead of helping you. And I just feel like it's such a bad thing that we have gotten accustomed to as a society, and we should try to you know, to take our steps back and retrace our steps and be like, okay, where did we go wrong? When did it start being wrong to correct a child who has done something wrong? When did it start being wrong to do this or to do that? Like, let's just take our time and take a step back and retrace our footsteps, honestly, and just, as I said, figure out what we did that was wrong, where we went wrong, and maybe through that, we are going to learn a couple of things that are going to bring us back to being a society worth living in and just enjoying it. We don't have to punish someone else's child. That's not the thing I'm saying. I'm just saying that it should be okay for us to be like, hey, stop doing that. Without a child going like, where's mama yangu? And then starting crying. And then the mom comes and just blasts you. I remember a couple of years ago, I was going to work in the morning, imagine. And I'm walking by this place. So this estates of ours, there are people who have small vibandas like by the road, and they sell chapati, they sell, like street food. This woman, there's this huge paper that she uses to cover the flour or put the chapatis in. I don't know what she does with it. But I was walking, going to work in the morning, and she had just washed that paper, and she was doing, I don't know how to describe that action. Like, she was trying, she was, is it blowing it to the wind? I don't know what she was doing, but she was trying to get the water out of the paper. And I was passing by, and she did that to me. Like, the water splashed on me. I just didn't want to look at her because I know the kind of woman she is. I don't talk much to most of the people downstairs, like people who own shops and stuff. If I've never bought anything from you, I just don't talk to you. But you can hear them arguing with other people, with other vendors and stuff. And you know that this one, that mouth, I'm not interested. I'd had her like speak terribly and very vulgar. Like, she was very vulgar at some point while she was talking to another vendor. So I knew the kind of mouth that was on her. I just kept walking. And she had the audacity to click as if I was the one who had done the mistake of walking by on the road while she was doing whatever she was doing with that paper. I've never bought anything from that place of theirs. Not a single chapati or whatever. I always walk past them as if I do not see them. And that's just how I've always behaved with them. Because, I mean, I don't know if she was trying to get me to argue with her, or she was trying to just, I don't know what she was trying to do, honestly. But yeah, sometimes that's some of the people that you find in the society of ours now. And it's crazy. You can try to be as kind as humanly possible, but then you'll just find some people who are just impossible to coexist with. And that's just the truth. So yeah, it's sad, but that's what we're living through right now. So I'm going to leave it at this. It was just me ranting, just musing about some things I've seen in the society that we're living in right now. And they're not good. I didn't like them, and I did not appreciate them. And sometimes I want to do something, but you can't because our society does not allow it anymore. So yeah, it's chaotic and it's hectic and it's not normal, but we have to make do and we have to move on with the times. So yeah, but as I said, I wish you could go back to the past and just see, like trace our footsteps and see where we went wrong and what we can do to fix things. So yeah, tell me in the comment section down below if you agree with me or if you do not. Tell me stories that you have seen, like things that you have experienced in the society now, and how you felt about them. If you wanted to correct but you couldn't because of 1, 2, 3, go to my Insta, follow me there as well, follow me on TikTok, and make your orders. If you have my number, call. If you do not, DM me on my Instagram. I'll be there for you. I'll listen to your orders and I'll make you the best of whatever it is that you're asking for. And if you cannot make whatever it is that you're asking for, I'll tell you the truth. I do not lie, okay? Remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that I never upload something new, you're going to be amongst the first people to come and watch, okay?